Which video game would you consider a piece of art and why? Firewatch. The whole game looks like a beautiful painting. It's as good as walking simulators can get. A game like that, I kept expecting there to be some horrific turn of events. It was just so engaging and enthralling. Wandering around, pretty much alone in the woods, you can't help but expect something to attack you. I really wish there was a follow-up to it. Not exactly a direct follow-up, but the team that made Firewatch got snapped up by Valve and they're making in the Valley of the Gods. Did not know this. I'm looking forward to it now. Have you played Gone Home? It's similarly very good. I haven't yet. Gonna add that one to the backlog when I get home. Thanks for the heads up. Papers, Please. The most fun game about paperwork ever with a rich story. On the chance you haven't seen Beholder, try it. Plays like a mix of Papers, Please and This War of Mine. Glory to our Stotska, greatest country. Make US proud. Did you watch the short film? Feels more like a trailer, but if you love the game, even that will feel amazing. It's okay YouTube. Papers, Please may or may not have made me cry several times. How can you be sad in the most glorious country? Throw it on a big screen and have friends check for specific certificates for multiplayer was the most fun I had with this game. Journey, the interface and the multiplayer aspect are done so beautifully that it doesn't get in the way of the gameplay or aesthetics. The music, the visuals, the story all come together wonderfully. I'm still amazed by how much story they managed to tell with no words whatsoever. I once heard that art should be judged on the potency of emotion it invokes, no matter what that emotion might be, and by that standard, Journey is undoubtedly one of the best. I even got teary-eyed during the long sandslide while the sunlight is coming in as the pillars go by. It's just beauty. Played this for the first time a couple of weeks ago. It's absolutely beautiful, and that soundtrack is amazing. Hollow Knight, Ori and the Blind Forest. Absolutely beautiful platformers with phenomenal soundtracks. I want Ori and the Will of the Wisps so bad. Completely agree. There is a Hollow Knight subreddit, but I don't know how to make links. You can just type a Hollow Knight, no link needed. Try our Hollow Knight memes as well. You're welcome. Came here for Hollow Knight. It does so many different things, and nails all of them. For any Metroidvania fan out there, you need to pick this up. There's a real argument that could be made for it being the best in the genre. Okami. The game is based around art, but it's also a masterpiece how each character is drawn. The environments resemble Japanese paintings. It's a masterpiece. Came here to say this. I was absolutely stunned by the beauty of that game. Same here. Had it on the PS2, looks just as good on the PS4. There is also a sequel called Okami Den on DS. My favorite game of all time. I'm so happy more people are experiencing it now. Okami is definitely one of my favorite video games out there. The graphics and scenery are so beautiful and unique, and the overall storyline is what makes it so great. Mother 3. Despite its graphics, which did add charm to it, it still conveyed an amazing story with a lot of good themes. It felt like I was playing a game for literature class. I wish Mother 3 was a musical. I've made up lyrics for many of the songs, including Mom's Hometown, Unfounded Revenge, and You Call This a Utopia, just preparing for the day it hits Broadway. I'm so glad this was the top comment. It definitely hurts to see the fact that it will most likely never come to the States. The Last of Us, because of the storytelling and gameplay. Don't forget Gustavo Santaola's music. Amazing game, but why do you think the gameplay was so good? I don't think it did anything innovative. It didn't do anything new, and that was exactly why it was good. It didn't try to change up the gameplay in an effort to be unique, but instead used a common gameplay style perfectly for the kind of game they were going for. I played this shortly after becoming a father. So many emotions. The characterization is amazing, and the dialogue is so natural. Some of the best writing in gaming. Undertale. I know of no other game that has evoked as much emotion in me through its gameplay, story, characters, and music. And those emotions come from the whole spectrum as well: sadness, joy, anger, horror, etc. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle of Bikini Bottom. Unironically that game was actually good. Got rid of my PS 2 years ago, but I played that all the time. Didn't expect to see this here. I wished they'd remaster this game. I recently learned that there is a passionate speedrunning community around this game. Loved that game. Did a lot of roaming around jellyfish fields in the downtown area with all the Texas flags. Murmula 2. Mass Effect. Just a brilliant series all around. Changed my perception towards action RPG amazing series. Mass Effect was able to turn around my opinion on space sci-fi. Such a phenomenal series. Except for the last half hour or so of 3. Even the extended cut couldn't salvage it, and even introduced new highly questionable element that is the Normandy apparently being able to drop everything and come swooping into an active battlefield to retrieve your squad mates. Oh yeah, and the entire attempt at Andromeda. Patches have made it playable at least, but talk about a galaxy's worth of missed opportunities. Doom 2016. The music, tension, story and gameplay meld together so well into what I think ranks in my top games of all time. The starting sequence itself, from getting straight into the action to the amazing transition into the Logos, is truly awesome. I started playing it recently, and though I usually don't like pure action games, I'm loving it. It's like the Mad Maximum Fury Road of video games. The music alone makes the whole experience worthwhile. I wonder, does Rage 2 does the same thing with gameplay mechanics? No. The gunplay in Rage 2 is fine but not outstanding, and everything else in the game drags it way down. Yeah, I knew Rage 2 was going to be mediocre at best. Avalanche is the king of mediocre games. Life is Strange and Detroit Become Human. Life is Strange is a piece of art, and I just loved how I felt, as if I could really connect with the characters and fall in love with them. Detroit Become Human was a masterpiece, and one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. Was about to say yes. The story, the graphics. Even if anyone disagreed, there'd still be the absolutely wonderful music. Skyrim. It stands up, no matter the platform, and, rocked the standard of Elder Scrolls games. The scenery was beautiful without mods, the gameplay fantastic, and the immersive aspect of the world drew nearly everyone into it. Hey, you're finally awake. This game in VR fully modded is astounding. Bastion. The excellent soundtrack really sets an amazing atmosphere. Combined with the story and artwork, it is a special experience. I listen to that soundtrack and the Transistor soundtrack at least once a week while at work. It is so awesome. Transistor is also a beautiful and very artistic game. I'd add par there too. Realistically, Super Giant Games just does beautiful things. Now, what genre is it? Maybe I'll try it out. Soundtrack is just so important for me. 2D and a good story as well. Obviously X3. It's an ARPG. I highly recommend it. Red Dead Redemption 2 was the most impressive, immersive, and intricate game I've ever played. The world, the characters, the story, everything just tied together so beautifully. It's hard to say that any other game hit me in the feels like RDR2 did. Maybe Mass Effect, but yeah, this story was an emotional roller coaster, and it truly takes an effect on the player. When you spend upwards of 50 to 100 hours shaping Arthur in your own image, the end result is that much more meaningful to the player. I'm one of those people who jump into a story as fast as they can. RDR2 is one of the few games where I spent hours upon hours just exploring. It's amazing how no matter whether you are in the mission or not, it still feels like you are part of the story. This is something that was missing from Rockstar's GTA games in my opinion. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I'm surprised that the game is not mentioned. I was looking for this answer. Loved The Witcher 3. I know at this point it's cliche, but I honestly couldn't agree more. I spent years between my old school PlayStation and strategy games like Civ on PC and my Xbox One not bothering with new games, but the beauty of Witcher 3 made me love games all over again. Since finishing it, I've played all the new RPGs, but I always come back to replay Witcher 3. Its look, its dialogue, soundtrack, everything makes it a work of art. I never found it very artistic personally. I deeply enjoyed it for its character depth and quality of side quests, but in terms of style and universe I don't feel like there's very much in it you can call original, as it's largely borrowed from real folklore etc. Personal opinion I guess, as with all art. Still one of my favorite games in recent years regardless. I can't believe I had to scroll 3/4 down the page to find this. Celeste. Beautiful graphics and a relevant commentary. Smooth but simple gameplay. Difficult but not excessively so. If not my favorite game I've played, definitely one of the most well made. The game may not be for everyone, but I'm sure any person with an interest in gaming can appreciate the beauty and ingenuity of Celeste's levels, particularly the B-sides. There are few, if any, games that I've played that were difficult enough that they forced me out of my completionist habits. Occasionally, I'd just get bored with a game and put it down before achieving 100% looking at you, bot W Korok seeds, but I would never give up based purely off of difficulty. That said, Celeste broke me. I comfortably beat the base game while getting all the collectibles. However, I only finished 2 B-sides before I noped out. For the sake of my sanity, I know I could have beat them all, but I decided it wasn't worth it. I feel like I grew as a person that day. 10 great game. Would frustrate myself all over again. All video games are a piece of art. Good or bad, it is still art. If we weren't living in a world where Dungeon Keeper Mobile existed, I might have been able to agree with you to some extent. But we aren't living in such world, so I can affirm with absolute certainty there are video games out there which are 100% consumption product with zero artistic view and instead are just there to swindle as much money as they can out of you by trying to get you hooked on addictive game mechanics. Does that microtransaction shitfest count as a game? Yes. Remember, roulette wheels are technically games. Portal 2. The entire game is brilliant, but even just for the voice acting alone. J.K. Simmons as Cave Johnson? I'm sold. Most of them, but Hollow Knight specifically is probably one of the best examples of pure artistic passion put into every single possible aspect of a game. GTA San Andreas, the best of all the Grand Theft Auto franchise. I hope Rockstar remakes it. Considering their last game took place there, I highly doubt it. The Witness, if we are talking about art direction, rather than just good games. I really liked how it really encourages you to carefully look around and find symbols and shapes hidden all around you, like even when you think you are off the path you find something that reminds you it is part of some grand design. Without words or text the game guides you to its objectives and goals. And ultimately you look for solutions in everything: light, sounds, nature, perspectives. I consider that art. The Talus principle is amazing as well. I love how the game starts out by giving you a little screen with a maze on it and says solve this, and it kind of teaches you that all the puzzles are on these little screens. But as you go through the game, traveling from screen to screen, you realize that everything is a puzzle. That leaf, that branch, that rock, that cloud, everything is puzzles. Stardew Valley is crazy impressive given that one person created the entire thing. The music, coding, art, story, mechanics, all one guy. Team Fortress 2, the gameplay, the weapons, the cosmetics, and the characters make it one of the best games I've ever played. I'll agree with this. Everything about the game is so congruent and really becomes something greater than the sum of its parts. Earthbound, great games with a great soundtrack, beautiful scenes and great characters, and their main theme is all about being away from home, and it's beautiful to see Ness return to his home at the end of the game. Yes, I agree. I'm glad I found this comment. I think the storyline of Earthbound is an art in itself, in the subtle ways that they incorporate mature subject matter into a game for kids. Mother 2 in Japan was the same game, just minus the subtlety. Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005 version. One of the best racing games I've ever played. None of the new ones even come close to being that good. With every passing year I wished that they would have returned to their old formula for the newer titles. Unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. Or they could make a more realistic like Porsche Unleashed, very underrated game, but they won't th that either. Flower from That Goma Company was in the Smithsonian. Planescape Torment, IMO, one of the most well written game ever. When a mind does not know itself, it is flawed. When a mind is flawed, the man is flawed. When a man is flawed, that which he touches is flawed. It is said that what a flawed man sees, his hands make broken. Breath of the Wild. I spent so much time in the game just exploring and looking at all the scenery. 100% a work of art. Set the bar low, and you'll never be disappointed.